back in the early 90s, seems a long time ago now, I suddenly became aware of the power of globalization. The way in which the developed world was changing and the way in which the emerging world was growing. And I then began to try and think, can I in some way codify the forces for change in the world? Demography. What would happen to technology? What would happen to the environment? What would happen to ideas about government, and so on. And I looked at the world. I then tried to analyze the forces for change, and then I tried to see what kind of world we might be living in 2020. It's a nice round number to take. And as I worked through this, I found that I was surprised by lots of things. I think there are two huge changes taking place in the world economy at the moment, two big stories. And the first story is the shift of power, economic might, away from the old developed world towards the new emerging world. And this is happening incrementally, little bit each year. But if you add up over a long period, look back 10 years, the change is absolutely stunning. The second story is that we have had a pig of a cycle. We are still clambering out of that cycle, not just in the developed world, but also in the emerging world, which was, it's hit too, though it came through in much better shape than we did. And I think that the next 10 years, through to the early 2020s, will be characterized by these two stories. Everything fits into that. The continuing shift of power and the big pull-up out of the cycle. Here in Britain, we have Jaguar Land Rover rescued by Tata of India. It's a bit of a joke question, but actually the largest manufacturing employer in the UK, because there's not only Jaguar Land Rover, there's also Tata Steel. The largest manufacturing employer is actually Tata of India. Now that would have been utterly unthinkable 10 years ago. It would not have been on anyone's radar. And fascinatingly, Tata have succeeded where Ford and BMW, the previous owners, have failed. And actually JLR is now the fastest growing, significant Western, let's call it Western, car manufacturer in the world in percentage terms. I think what an outside economic commentator can do for business is to give them the framework of the world economy. Now, this isn't the detail, what's going to be the unemployment rate in wherever it is. This is to give them the framework for how the world economy will develop. Once you've done that, then I think that my use would be to be a sounding board for ideas that are going on within the company that they want to try out on someone who has been an observer of the world economy for the past, 20, 30 years, and is used to trying to catch the changes, the big structural shifts, not just in the big macro numbers, but also in the micro numbers, which industries are likely to be at risk, which industries are likely to see growth opportunities. And I think that one's use is to be a sounding board there, to help people who are running a business, who know what they're doing, just to clarify their ideas and sharpen their ideas a wee bit more than would otherwise be the case.